I remember the first time I saw her differently. We were 17. She was laughing at some stupid joke I'd made, sitting barefoot on the kitchen counter. Her hair was tied up messily, and she was wearing an oversized hoodie. That's when it hit me. Not like a brother, not like family. Something shifted, and I couldn't unsee it. We'd always been close, too close, maybe. We were raised under the same roof after our parents got married. Me, the son from a previous marriage. Her, the daughter from the new one. Technically, nothing wrong with it. Emotionally, it was different. We were inseparable as kids. Long bike rides, late-night horror movies, sneaking snacks at midnight. But somewhere along the line, the way I looked at her changed. And I knew deep down, I wasn't supposed to feel that way. I think she knew too. There were moments, silent pauses that lasted too long, her eyes holding mine just a second more than they should have. She never pulled away when our hands touched, but nothing ever happened. We didn't talk about it. We pushed it aside. College came. She left for another city. I stayed back, got busy with life, work, meaningless relationships. She dated too. I saw pictures of her with guys every time something twisted inside me. But I had no right to feel that way. I kept telling myself it was just adolescent confusion. I'd get over it. I didn't. She was always there, quietly sitting in the back of my mind. Her absence was louder than anyone else's presence. Years passed. We saw each other on holidays, birthdays, family gatherings. Always polite, always smiling. But the tension never went away. It was like standing on the edge of a cliff, feeling the wind pull at you, knowing one more step could change everything. Then came the engagement. I proposed to someone who loved me, who was good to me. She said yes. I told myself I was doing the right thing. Safe, stable, simple. That's what I wanted. Or maybe that's what I thought I was supposed to want. She didn't say much when I told her, just smiled and hugged me. But her eyes, those were the first time I saw something crack. A few weeks later, I got the wedding invitations printed, sent them out. She replied late, said she'd try to make it. A part of me hoped she wouldn't. Another part of me only wanted to see her. The night she arrived, I was in the middle of final prep. Everyone was home, relatives, friends, chaos all around. I hadn't seen her in months. And then she walked in, suitcase in hand, eyes tired from the flight, but still her. Still exactly the way I remembered. She hugged my mother, smiled at the others, and finally turned to me. Just a quiet, hey. That's all. But the way she looked at me, I felt 17 again. We avoided each other most of the evening. I was surrounded by people, but all I could feel was her gaze. Later, I went to my room to get away from the noise. I lay down, exhausted. That's when I got her text. I need to talk to you alone. No context, no emojis, nothing playful. Just that one line. My heart started racing. I stared at the screen, reread it a dozen times. I knew what she meant. I knew this moment would come, and still, I wasn't ready. I replied, "Come up." A few minutes passed. I heard footsteps, a soft knock on the door, and that's when everything began again. The house was alive with noise. The day before the wedding. People laughing, rushing, decorating. I moved through it all like a shadow, smiling when I needed to, answering questions automatically. I was the groom, the center of it all. And yet, I'd never felt more disconnected. My fiancé looked stunning, as always, graceful, kind, everything anyone would want. She was organizing flowers with her usual focus. I watched her from across the room, thinking she deserves someone fully present. And I wasn't. Not anymore. I felt it the second my sister walked into the house the night before. It was like someone shook the balance I'd been trying to keep. I avoided her for most of the evening. We said barely a word, but I could feel her watching me, just like I was watching her. That look we shared during dinner, it wasn't just nostalgia. It was a silent reminder of everything we never said. I kept thinking about that moment in my room when I told her to come up. What was I thinking? Why didn't I just ignore the message? I thought it would be a quick closure, maybe. But all it did was tear open everything I'd buried. The memory of her eyes and the dim light wouldn't leave my mind. I didn't even sleep properly that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. Every time I tried to breathe, I felt that space between us closing in again. The next morning, I dressed early. I needed to get away from everyone. I went to the back room where my suit was laid out. I unbuttoned my shirt, checked the fit. I didn't even hear the door open. I turned, startled, and she was there, holding a tray of tea, like she had some excuse to see me. She froze when she saw me half-dressed. I didn't cover up. She didn't look away. That moment, silent, still, thickle with tension. She placed the tray down slowly, keeping her eyes on me the whole time. I said nothing. Neither did she. There was no physical contact, not even a word, but I swear it felt more intimate than anything I'd ever shared with anyone. The air was different when she was around. I couldn't explain it, only feel it. I watched her leave without a word, and I stood there like a coward. I should have said something. Should have asked why she came the night before, why she kissed me like that, why she looked at me like I belonged to her. But I didn't, because I was scared, because I knew the truth, and the truth was dangerous. The rest of the day dragged. Pictures, seating charts, final checks. Everyone was too busy to notice how off I was, except her. She was quiet, but every time our eyes met, I felt like she was holding a secret between her teeth, like we were speaking a language no one else could hear. Later that afternoon, my fiancé came up to me and said, "You look tired." I smiled and kissed her forehead. "Just nerves," I said. She laughed softly and told me everything would be fine. And for a moment, I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe I could go through with this, marry someone good, live the life I promised. But there was a hollow space in my chest that nothing could fill. The closer we got to the ceremony, the louder that silence became. I kept remembering the way she looked at me in my room, the weight of it, the tea she didn't even expect me to drink. It wasn't about the drink. It was about being there, being near me. It was her way of saying, "I'm still here." I started to question everything, not just the wedding, but the foundation of it all. Was I marrying someone because I loved her, or because she loved me and I couldn't bear to disappoint anyone else? Was I choosing the right thing, or just the easiest? That night, I went to bed early, hoping to shut it all out. But sleep didn't come. I stared at the ceiling, counting the hours until the wedding. And still, every time I closed my eyes, I didn't see my bride. I saw her. Always her. It was just past midnight when I heard the knock. Soft, barely there, but enough to jolt me upright. I didn't ask who it was. I already knew. I opened the door, and she stood there, arms crossed, face unreadable. No makeup, no effort, just her. Exactly how I remembered her when we used to stay up late, talking about nothing. She walked in without asking. I closed the door behind her, The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was familiar, like we were picking up a conversation we'd paused years ago. She sat on the edge of the bed and looked at me. I stayed standing, unsure of what to say. Her voice broke the tension. I couldn't sleep. I nodded. Me neither. That was the truth. She looked down at her hands, twisting her fingers the way she always did when she was nervous. Then she said it, soft, controlled, but heavy. You're really getting married? I answered slowly. That's the plan. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Then she looked up at me. Can I ask you something? I told her, yes. Do you love her? I froze, not because I didn't have an answer, but because I wasn't sure which answer to give. I took a breath and said, she's good to me. She makes sense. That wasn't what she asked. She didn't press, but I saw it in her face. She already knew. She stood up, walked toward the window, and looked out. Do you ever think about us? She asked. I didn't move. All the time, I said quietly. She turned around. Then why didn't you ever say anything? I almost laughed. You were gone. You moved on. I thought you were happy. She stepped closer. I wasn't. Not really. I dated people to forget you. I smiled in photos because that's what you're supposed to do, but I never stopped thinking about you. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't look at her, but she walked right up to me. I thought I could live with it. Thought I'd be okay seeing you with someone else. But tonight it hit me. I can't. Not without telling you. Not without at least giving us one honest moment. I looked at her. She was so close now, I could feel her breath. What do you want from me? I whispered. Nothing, she said. Just the truth. I didn't plan it. I didn't think. I just leaned in. Our lips touched, tentative at first, almost scared, then deeper. Years of silence, buried feelings, everything rushed in. It wasn't lust, it wasn't confusion, it was released. She pulled away first, eyes glassy, hands trembling. We can't do this, she said. I nodded, but didn't let go of her hand. I know. We stood there, caught between guilt and longing. Eventually, she sat down again. I sat beside her. No more words, just quiet. She leaned into me, head on my shoulder. We didn't kiss again. We didn't need to. I wrapped my arm around her, and we stayed like that until the first light crept through the window. When the sun hit the floor, we both knew the moment had ended. The real world was waiting. She stood up, fixed her hair, and didn't look at me. I'm sorry, she said. I shook my head. Don't be. She opened the door, then paused. I just needed to know if you felt it too. I said nothing. She left, and I was alone again. But everything had changed.